Alright, so we'll go ahead and remove the negative since we're going to be dealing with the electrical components on the car. Alright, so pulled the wheel off, pulled this little rubber matting back. Grab my light. I don't know if you can see that, but you're definitely not going to take the alternator out this way unless you're going to remove all the power steering pump stuff. So even if you were to disconnect the linkage, there's still not enough room. Pull that out of there, you got all the stuff above it. So I guess the only option is if maybe I was looking, maybe I can pull the skid plate off the bottom and pull it out the front and drop it out. The only issue is trying to get to all the wire bolts and everything that are in there, but I'm gonna try that next. I'm trying to prevent from having to take apart half the motor just to get there, so I'll let you know what happens. So, took off the skid plate. This thing's old and nasty, but it's alright. Don't know if you can see that, but there's the alternator. It looks like if I can get that top bolt that I've got my thing on that bracket for, I can actually pull that thing out this way. So I'm gonna give it a shot. There definitely looks like there's enough room between the side frame and pass it by the oil filter. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot going this way. As long as I can get that thing loosened right there, pull the belt off, pull off those 3 bolts, and she should drop right out. So I'm gonna give it a shot, see what happens. Bring y'all back in a minute. Alright, hopefully y'all can see this. So, sprayed all this, loosen that up, loosen this up, and that's the adjustment to keep this tight so you can see it's starting to loosen up. And then hopefully you can see what I did there. So that's the top bolt that holds the alternator bracket in. So I just used a little extension on a 12 millimeter socket, pop that sucker loose. So now everything's loose. I'm gonna start working on those to get those out. And I think prior to those coming all the way out, I'm gonna try to get to those wire bolts connected to the back. It looks like I can get to this one from below, and then the one on the other side, which I think is the ground, I can go through the wheel well. So I'm gonna keep working at this. Once I'm about to disconnect everything, I'll bring you back so y'all see what I've gotten to and how I get to it. All right, be right back. All right, so I'm working on this ground wire right there. I'm just using a box wrench. There's plenty of room there. It's one of the smaller box wrenches, and I'm just gonna get that ground off right now. Then I'll move on to the other wires. All right, came out pretty easy, so ground wire is off. So now we're gonna move over to the side. We're gonna pull out, hopefully y'all can see that. So we're gonna pull out this wire coupler right there where my fingers are touching. I'm just gonna pull that little tab back and that'll pop off. And then we're gonna work on that wire, which is the hot, going to the alternator. So I'm not gonna lie, that was a pain trying to work that out in this little area, but essentially it goes in like this. You gotta push that front tab. Hopefully y'all can, like right where my thumb is, you'll see that little tab. I used a flathead screwdriver and just pushed on it so I could grab the back to pull it out, but got that out. So we'll work on next we'll work on this power wire right there. Hopefully you can see that. So I passed the socket through here with the 12 millimeter socket on it. The wrench, anyways. Pass that through here. I hung it on there. And that allows me to get some force to break that loose. So I've gotten that loose now. I'm going to pop that off. And then I'll be able to take everything out. I'll have all the wires off, and I already loosened the belt. So all I got to do is remove that top bolt. And I'll be able to drop it out. So hopefully I'll be back with you and pulling out the whole piece. As you can see, it's off. So wires are now all off. So we're gonna move to removing that. I don't know if you can see it from this angle, but it's the top bolt holding this whole thing together. So I'll be back with you. All right, so since I had all this loose, I went ahead and removed this bolt. So now the alternator is sitting flat. I'll go ahead and remove the belt off the pulley, just like so. All right, so now all we have is that one bolt up there that you're looking at the top I need to pull out. I'm hoping I can take the alternator out here. If not, then I'm going to have to remove this bracket to get it out. But I'm hoping I can slide it out this way. But I'll take off that top one and see if I can't make it happen. As I suspected, I can't get it past this bracket. As you see here, it kind of like makes it up. It makes it go into the corner. But you can't slide it out anyway because of the top. You kind of see that top. If the top wasn't so long, I'd be able to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one bolt out that you see here that my socket's on. I'm hoping if I loosen it enough, I can push this up and this thing will just slide right out. That's my hopes. So we'll come back with you after I get it out. So broke that bracket loose. As you can see, it's hanging down. So that allowed me to come and slide. Well, if I had more than 2 hands. Sorry, I'm like not letting y'all see what I'm doing. So this, see how I slid the bracket up? Now I can have the alternator slide right out underneath that bracket. Since there's enough room now. Well, it was easy when I did it with both hands, but you'll just have to trust me. There we go. Came right out. One thing I would recommend is don't know why I didn't think about this, but I should have marked where this thing needed to go down here. So I guess what I'll have to do is put the top one in the top bracket and then make this match up, and then I'll have to tighten it. But at least that sucker's out. We'll get started getting the new one prepped and everything set back in. I always do this, but just make sure the new part is exact like this one. Connectors in the same location. Power, ground, and especially the tube mounting locations are the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing back in there. All right, hope you can see this. Kept the gap between here and put those bolts back in. Bolt at the top is in, belt is on. So now we're just gonna go ahead and put the wires back on and call it a night. Now wrapped up putting the wires, power wires on, as you can see right there. Put in the plug, and down there you can see the ground is in. Everything's hooked back up, so we're gonna start her up and see how she does. All right, skid plate's back on. Getting close. I'm gonna go ahead and zip tie back up that rubber covering. And I'll put the wheel on, and then hopefully I'll start her up and she'll work. All right, connect the battery cable back up. Wheels back on. Haven't tightened up everything yet, but we're gonna go ahead and give her a start. Hopefully we've got bright lights and no battery light. All right, battery light is gone. Perfect. All the lights are working. Fantastic. Well, I'm gonna call this one a wrap, folks. If you enjoyed this movie, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you at the next one.